These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Friday, October 13th, and we are fully in the swing of things with preseason, with training camp, with practice, all that good Celtic stuff. But before we get into Celtics, I do have a couple things that I thought would be, or just that I wanted to mention. I forgot to tell you this, actually, Sam, but I got a message the other day from somebody on Twitter who, they don't have an actual name, but the message was, "Hey man, how are you? I follow How About Them Celtics from Uruguay. Great job." And then he was like talking about potential like contracts and stuff. And then he sent me how long was it? He sent me a 1:55, 2-minute voice memo just explaining why he likes the podcast. And I just wanted to say I appreciate you because that's really cool. And I will send it to you after this so you can listen to it. But it was very cool. He was basically like, I don't really want to listen to 40-year-olds talk about how they wish the game used to be all day, and you guys seem to not do that. I do that. So I appreciate it. Well, you do, but we have balance. But I just wanted to say I appreciate you for watching and listening from Uruguay, and that was pretty cool to see that just hit my DMs, and we appreciate you. But yeah, that was cool. It is weird though to think that like, and we say this all the time, it is weird to think that people actually like listen to this because most of the time it just feels like we're talking and then like we put it somewhere like whatever, but then we get into like but then we get into like the pre-games, which have been baller so far. They've been so sick, and then you see the chat moving and like, wow, wait, there's actually people who like care about the same things we care about and want to listen and like hang out. Like, I don't know. I was like reflecting on that the other day.
The funny thing is Jack is like the only person I talk about basketball with other than my dad. Like I kind of just don't talk about basketball with anybody else. I don't have it in me.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, but we appreciate you guys allowing us to have this platform to talk about it because we enjoy it very much. But speaking of it, let's actually do some of that. Let's talk about basketball. I was at Celtics practice today, which again is Friday.
Just got back.
This is going out. Yes, I did just get back.
Dude, look at this water. Hold on. Look at this thing.
That is a giant water. You know what?
This is my forearm. This is the water.
In spite of
they're the same size.
In spite of Joey Spatulas, who mocked me, I scarfed down some food before this, and you bet your ass it was Jersey
respect.
You know what it had to be. But I got back from Celtics practice now. We are recording this again on Friday. It's coming out on Sunday though, so if anything big happened on Saturday, we'll talk about it on the Tuesday pod. Sorry. We had stuff tomorrow, but got back from Celtics practice, and I'm going to kick off within not really a rat list, but I'll rat list myself. So I have not yet asked a question at Celtics practice heading into today. I don't want to step on people's toes. It's not like post-game media where they like, okay, we'll take turns. Here's a mic. You know when your turn is. It's just yell out your question and hope you get it in. And I did today. I asked Joe Mazzulla about Kristaps Porzingis and drop coverage with Derrick White and Jrue Holiday as trailers, how that dynamic's been, how it's gotten used to. I asked Kristaps about it after the first preseason game, so I'm going to write about it. Finally asked the question. Voice crack in the middle of the question. Just disaster. It was just I finally got the ball.
Voice crack guy, to be honest with you. It happens to me not quite a bit, but it happens to me probably more than I would like. I almost just had one. What was Joe's reaction? Did he snicker at you? Maybe spit on you?
No, he was normal. I bet I could find a video of my voice crack if we'd like to watch it. But do we want to watch the voice crack?
If you have it, yes. If not, then don't kill yourself.
I don't know. You can't hear it. My voice is not picked up by the CLNS audio well enough, but yeah, it was just full on like I was like, KP is really good at drop coverage, and then you have Derrick White, and I'm like, disaster.
You should have just been like, you should have just like left. You just leave the scrum. You walk away, and everyone like kind of understands. So like, yeah, okay, see you tomorrow.
That was bad. Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but Joe gave me a good answer. He talked about how it's all about trust. KP dropping back far enough to trust Derrick White and Jrue Holiday to contest from behind so he can get those blocks and sink deep into the paint. And I do think that's going to make the Celtics drop coverage a lot more effective because you have guys who can defend while trailing, and you have probably one of the best drop coverage guys in the league. He's 7'3". He's a good shot blocker. Like that's enough to do it. Svi Mykhailiuk talked as well. I did ask him a question because I know we talked about on the last pod, maybe when we reacted to the second 76ers game, how Sam Hauser was kind of used as a connector. And so I asked him about like, I phrased it very poorly because I was unprepared, but I was basically asking him like, how do you manage in the game when you shoot versus when you try to drive a closeout? Is it just playing off stars? Like, what is the deal? And he basically was like, yeah, it's like, you have to know the personnel you're playing with and be able to read the defense. Like if I'm playing with stars, I'm more likely to just catch and shoot. But if I'm playing, more freely, then you have opportunities to gauge and make decisions for yourself, which makes sense. And I was intrigued by that. Al Horford also talked about Jordan Walsh's relationship with him, just how that's been. Joe Mazzulla also talked about, where was it? He talked about, the team getting together, saying they're happy where they're at, but they know they need to continue to get better, saying like developing chemistry, the stuff like that. I can't remember if there are any other like big highlights from it, but those are kind of the talking points. Anything you saw on Twitter that I might have missed?
I have not been on Twitter today. Admittedly, I really haven't. I did most of my digging for the NBA section of this show. So if you like the way my brain works, you're gonna maybe enjoy that section of the show. I knew you were there. I figured you would fill us in.
Yeah,
I think those are the main points. I saw that Al likes Kristaps.
He does. Yes, Al did talk also about Kristaps and playing with him. Said it's been
is good. You worry that they might hate each other sometimes.
Yeah,
when a new guy comes in, guys get territorial and they're like, I don't want you on my team, but that didn't happen with Kristaps, so it's really good. Good start.
It is good. Al also, who took 20 to 30 minutes to come to talk to us.
It
took him so long.
Slow.
Well, the practice ended, then they're like, oh yeah, Christian, who is a PR guy, mentioned, oh yeah, you get Al, and we just look across and we see Al like doing the steps in the weight room. We're like, okay, so we're not getting him for a little while. He's still hanging out.
The first thing you should have been like is how many steps you do.
Yeah, what's the deal? I also tweeted out a video of Jordan Walsh shooting, and I thought it was free throws, and then I rushed into another thing, and so I tweeted out he was shooting free throws, and I got some DMs and messages pointing out to me that those aren't free throws. So
DMs?
Apologies. Yeah, somebody DM'd me saying, I love your content, but these ain't free throws, bro. I'm like, thanks, man. My bad. It's very funny. So if you're watching,
because I saw you correct yourself, and I was like,
I corrected myself after I got a DM.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, nobody was roasting him. I guess he just caught that. Like, good for him.
No, I got.
Is anybody we know? Is just somebody that?
Just someone. I don't know. His name's Malcolm. He DM'd me and he goes, he said, I don't want to be an ass, but it's technically not free throws. Yeah, I love your content though. And I was just like,
hey, dumbass.
Like, yeah. I appreciate it. I thought it was fun.
I should have said that.
Another thing from practice. I don't know who it was. It looked like the Celtics were working out a player today, though. I don't know what the player's name was. It wasn't the guy.
Pull it up. Pull up the picture. We'll go to the review.
Oh, yes. Let me.
You did send a picture.
It was a very.
I was unable to
picture.
identify. Our good friend Tyler Rucker was unable to identify. Maybe we can brainstorm who this may be.
Celtics were. Oh, gosh, I want to pull it up without like exposing Twitter.
Maybe we shouldn't brainstorm. I don't want to put misinformation out there.
Yeah, we don't have
come up with nonsense.
Again, like I said, very great picture I got here. But the Celtics were seemingly working.
This is the new Marshawn Lynch at the airport, or person X seen at airport because it's so blurry. You can see somebody's fat hand on the laptop in the reflection. Is that you?
Leave Brian Robb alone. You're just roasting B Rob on the program. No, it's B Rob.
He's hard at work.
I thought it was funny.
Look at my man near the weight room. He's slumped. Is he supposed to be security?
I don't know. He's just hanging out.
He's
but
not stopping
no
anybody.
idea.
If you want to go lift weights, you can get right past him.
No idea who this is. It wasn't any of the guys we talked about this summer. It's not Brandon Slater. It's not Jordan Shaquille. It's not DJ Stewart, Taylor Funk, any of those guys. So it's like we don't know who it is. Speculation, at least my speculation, probably a potential two-way replacement. If I had to guess, they're probably bringing guys.
It would make sense.
Scrubb, but we don't know who that is. But he was at practice.
Jay Scrubb.
He's doing
I meant to put this on the sheet and I did not, so I'm glad you mentioned it. Jay Scrubb tweeted about his I don't know what has happened to him.
His injury,
his injury, and he said, "Be back soon, or we'll be back. I promise you," or something like that, with a shamrock and a green heart. Now, I was a little bit confused by this personally because everybody that we've talked to, the two of us talking back and forth. The assumption is he is no longer going to be on the team. So that made my dumb brain start moving around as I was sitting there doing nothing. And I was like, did they like wink, wink, handshake that he's not going to go away? Like, are they going to keep him around? I inquired. Apparently you cannot just like retain people in the G League. Not that anyone's going to be rushing to sign Jay Scrubb as he has a torn ACL.
They could probably waive him and then sign him to like a G League contract, right? They couldn't like just have him in the G League and like let him be on 2A. They could probably like
Correct.
waive him and bring him back to the main Celtics, which maybe
but technically, if you're in the G League,
you're free.
You are a free agent.
Yeah.
This I learned yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say Taylor Snow, who's a Celtics guy at practice, it was just a topic of conversation at practice. He was like, yeah, the main guys were super upset. They were super like very excited about Jay Scrubb. Probably would have been like their leading scorer, their best player. Like everyone was very high on Jay Scrubb. So it sucks that he is not going to be.
The main Celtics bettors are really struggling now.
Yeah, they're tough. Can you even bet on G League games? There's no way you can bet on.
You can bet on anything, dude. You got people betting. I have a friend that gets up and he bets on like Chinese baseball.
I was just gonna say Danny bets on Korean baseball from time to time. So.
Yeah, you can bet on anything. Maybe you can't bet on FanDuel.
Okay, yeah.
CNS, but maybe Joey on the corner will give you a line on the main red Celtics.
True. We'll have to see, but yeah.
I don't like that they changed the name.
You like the main Red Claws better?
Just because that's what I'm instinctually inclined to say.
Yeah, I'm trying to say Red Claws usually too.
This water is so big.
I'm struggling. Another thing that we forgot to put on the sheet that I'll mention quickly because we don't have a ton of Celtic stuff anyways. So Tyrese Maxey was on the JJ Redick podcast. Maybe slights the Celtics or maybe takes dig at the Celtics. I tweeted it. Let me pull up the tweet. And
you tweeted it. You hit me up about it, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And you gave me the timestamp, and then the timestamp was different on the YouTube video than it was the Spotify. But I did find it.
My bad.
I did find it.
And I'm not crazy, right? It does sound like he.
You're not crazy.
So let me pull it up. I'll pull it up. So
you can.
Tyrese Maxey is talking about. I wrote it here. Tyrese Maxey was on Old Man of 3, talked about he always wants to get up against a team that passed on him in the 2020 draft. At the very end, he says the following when JJ Redick is trying to get out of him what team it was. And I'll play the clip here so people can hear it. And you guys can give me your thoughts.
Little circle's going around like a damn hamster
wheel.
Yeah,
if the clip actually does decide to play.
Talk about shit or not.
I will let you know. Yeah, right. I'm getting trashed on here.
It's I've never seen the new X Twitter logo
every
with
time
the white
play.
Of
course. Here we go.
James is playing. Okay, my rookie year, Ben's playing. Okay, everybody wants to play when we play this team. When we play this, but
you can kind of hear it there.
Not only did he say it, but they definitely edited him saying it. That is not a natural. No, like somebody cut that.
It could have been like when we play this and he's like, my bad. But like, basically it sounds like he says, especially when you add in the context of everyone wants to get up when we play this team in the context of Philly. It sounds like he's mad.
They need to do a better job of getting up.
Aaron Nesmith went 14th to the Celtics that year. Maxey was 21st.
It'd be kind of crazy if they had Maxey.
Yeah, I'll go back to the same thing though. Like, would he have gotten the same opportunities? Because I was talking to Bobby Kravitsky about it, and he was like, "Well, at the time they had Smart, they had Kemba. Like, would he have really gotten that much playing time?"
So let's see. They picked. He was what 20? He was the COVID draft, so he would have came in the league in 2020, 21. I would say he would have got opportunity.
Well, they drafted Pritchard that year too.
They did draft Pritchard. Well, he would have got that Pritchard kind of opportunity where Pritchard came on as a rookie, and everyone was like.
He's
Pritchard. Like everything you're hearing now about Pritchard is what you were hearing 2 years ago when he was actually getting time, which is why none of this should be overly surprising to anybody other than the fact that he's managed to stay sharp while not playing at all. So I think Maxey, if he had been drafted by the Celtics in that circumstance, would have got some run. Kemba was out a lot that year. He struggled to stay in the lineup. He didn't play in the playoffs. Or did he? He wasn't active for all 5 of their games against Brooklyn.
Yes, I think he only played a little bit, but there is that. Yeah, I don't know. It was fun. It was interesting to hear Maxey say that because I don't know if he actually said it, but it sounds like he was playing it. Also, interesting enough, JJ Redick was reading down like, okay, these are the teams you average the most points against. You know who he averages the least amount of points against in his career?
Is it the Celtics?
It is the Celtics.
That would make sense because he might be pressing.
Yeah, maybe he's trying too hard, but we'll see what happens. Speaking of Celtics lineups and Celtics guards.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. That's guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. It absolutely is. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston. Kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Zach Lowe said on his podcast he wouldn't be surprised if Jrue Holiday off the bench could potentially be a real thing. He said, I don't think this was a one-off, Lowe said of the Celtics' first preseason games where Jrue came off the bench for Derrick White. I don't think this was, let's see how this looks. He may end up starting a ton of games, injuries, nights off, matchups, just being so good that we have to start him. I think this has some legs potentially, and the reason I think it has legs is because they trotted it out in the first game. They didn't play great, but you could feel the spacing and impact of a real quick trigger center with Porzingis. I think they like Tatum out, Holiday in with Jaylen Brown on the floor because like the Curry on the bench minutes in Golden State, Tatum on the bench has been a problem now for a lot of years. I'm not, and then
That's
this
me.
was your, yeah, okay, this is Sam's take on it. But yeah, go ahead with your take.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
Zach Lowe.
I've seen this kind of floating around. Obviously, when we saw it happen, we were kind of surprised. We talked about it on the post-game reaction that went up on Monday morning. It was kind of shocking. I don't know if they would do this. They just made a major move to bring him here. Why would they do that just to bring him off the bench?
First.
Not to say you can't be valuable off the bench or you can't finish games as a bench player. But I don't even know if he'd be cool with that. It doesn't seem like he's got a massive ego. But somebody that was an all-star last year gets brought in after really not having any kind of dip, any kind of fall off, and you're going to bring him off the bench, I guess. Maybe they're just like, dude, free award, 6th man of the year. Brogdon did it last year. You can be the new Brogdon. Then we'll trade you.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I like
Do you have thoughts on that?
I can't imagine they bring him off the bench. That'd be so
It just
weird.
doesn't make any sense.
No,
Why would they shake up the roster to the amount that they did, giving up Rob first round picks along with Brogdon if they're just going to try and use him like they use Brogdon?
The only reason I could see them doing it is because they spent the entire summer developing continuity with the other 5. Like Kristaps got there so much earlier that they spent the whole summer saying, okay, we're going to play two bigs, 1 guard, and the Jays. That's how we're going to run. And I think it was John Krause talking about this on Lockdown, or I forget where I heard it, but they were like, the Celtics made this calculated move to get more big man depth because they want to play big, because they saw it worked in the finals run. Like they want to go back to that, but adding Kristaps instead of Robs as the double bigs keeps the floor spacing that they liked with the 2 guards. So now they have the ability to do both. So bringing in Jrue Holiday, you could still do that, but then you'd have to send Derrick White to the bench. And if you just told him he'd be the starter, and not that Derrick White would have a problem like coming off the bench, he seems like the kind of guy who'd be fine with it, but like, you send him to the bench, you ruin that continuity a little bit. And from our conversation with Jake Fisher on the last pod, like Celtics really like Derrick White. Like they really like him too. So I could see it, but I couldn't see it. If you know what I'm saying? Like I could see that they would do it, but in my mind, I don't think it makes a ton of sense to do it. I think they should run 2 guards, send Horford to the bench for continuity's sake, because Horford's going to miss a bunch of games anyways. That said, I think it will be Derrick White off the bench, but even that doesn't make sense to me because I don't think Derrick White's a bench player. I don't. He's too good to be off the bench, in my opinion. So,
well, I mean, we've talked about it many times. His numbers as a bench player are just not as good. The split suggests that he should start. If you want the best out of Derrick White, it comes in the starting lineup. You've made the point that when he's come off the bench, it hasn't been consistently. So there's always the possibility that he could adjust to that and become very strong off the bench too. But last year, he was worlds better as a starter. He had a great season. He averaged almost 13 points, about 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and he shot well. And he made all defense. It's tough to relegate him to a bench role. 1, after a season like that. 2, after Joe Mazzulla named him the starter back in July. Even though there have been changes since then, it's still something, like you said, they very well could have been preparing for. So who knows what's going to happen? I'm glad I'm not involved.
Yeah, that's a very tough decision, and one that I don't envy Joe Mazzulla for having to make. You know what's not a tough decision, though, Sam? Posting guys that make your players look bad.
Yeah,
and it seems like the Celtics social media team has been making that decision regardless.
Like
Obviously,
that?
there is the You like the transition? I was ready. Yeah, a couple weeks ago there was the video that went around posted by the Celtics or somebody in this. Something got out. Jaylen Brown dribbling with his left hand versus his right hand, and it looked like he was significantly better with his right hand still. And today, a picture came out of a guy we are very high on, who at this point you will have seen a video on, Neemias Queta.
Yesterday's video.
Just absolutely posterizing Luke Cornett.
Well, technically, you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you don't know, right? Maybe you don't know. I'm finding the picture now.
Okay.
Yeah, is it on? Was it the Celtics official account?
I quote tweeted it. So
okay, I'll go to yours. Yeah, thank you.
So there's a photograph of Nemi. For those listening, you'll get the same treatment once the picture's up. Nemi going up for a big jam over Luke Cornett with both hands up. Now, it does not look like Luke Cornett is going to block this shot.
No.
Also wearing long sleeves, as is Derrick White. Is Nemi in a hoodie? But anyways, that's besides the point. Celtics Social, officially on watch. Like you said, Jaylen Brown, they post him dribbling with his left and struggling. After a summer of everybody tearing his left hand to shreds, people tweeting the video of a guy on a unicycle dribbling basketballs, and they're like, Jaylen Brown should do this to get better. Now you have them posting Neemias Queta dunking on Luke Cornett, when for the past week, people have been like, well, Luke Cornett is definitely out, and Nemi is in. Be dumber.
Look at Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah, he's like,
shit. Oh,
well, shit. Now I have to make a roster decision based on this photograph.
Mike's Aaron up there, like licking his chops.
This is a historic photo that this was the moment when everyone decided that Luke Cornett is out of the rotation.
Images that precede disaster, whatever it is.
Yeah. Derrick White looks on.
No, I'm in on Nemi though. He's so good. He's so good. I'm very excited for him. But Celtic social media on fraud watch is the way I look at it.
Big time watch.
Speaking of watching, Malcolm Brogdon made his debut for the Portland Trailblazers the other day. Played pretty well. What do you finish? You have it here, but I'm looking somewhere else. He put up 13 points in 15 minutes off the bench, 5-7 shooting. If you're thinking about Robert Williams, he's already hurt. He's already hurt.
Knees with somebody.
Yep. So he did not play in this game. But do you think Brogdon is how long is he on that roster realistically?
It's really tough to say, right? Because it doesn't make sense for him to be on the roster. It's the same reason why it didn't make any sense for them to trade for Tyler Hero all summer, when everyone was like, you have to take the Heat's offer or else. Because they already have Anthony Simons. They already have Shady and Sharp. They already have Scoot. These are all players that can play the guard spot. I know they're using Sharp more as a forward, but it doesn't make a ton of sense to have an overload in the guard rotation just yet for Portland. However, I think there's value in it for them to kind of roll with what they have, see how good the roster can be, because we've talked about it and it's like, well, are they really that bad? And you can't be like, yes, at least not yet. You can't like concretely be like they suck and should tank, because the Western Conference is an absolute slugfest. There are probably 12 to 13 teams that you could realistically see playing postseason basketball, meaning the play-in. And Portland has to be one at this point. Has to be one of the 13. I think them having Brogdon is valuable for depth, valuable for these guys to learn from him. And also, who knows? Maybe they keep him around, but if they do trade him, valuable in that sense too. Maybe get something from the Clippers.
Yeah, we'll see, especially if the James Harden situation doesn't work out. More on that later. I wrote about Derrick White recently. I wrote an article called Don't Forget About Derrick White, because it feels like everyone has kind of just forgotten that Derrick White exists. Because the way I phrased it in the article was effectively about how Jrue Holiday came in and everyone forgot. Like I said, ESPN's top 100 left White off the list, providing the perfect example of how quickly people forget about things when a shiny object gets thrown in their face. It's kind of what's happening with Derrick White, in my opinion. And also a phrase that Jrue Holiday consumed all the attention because Boston managed to replace the defensive presence of Marcus Smart while also adding a guy who shoots 40%. They already had that on the roster. Like it's not like they didn't have that type of player on the roster anymore. They just added another one. Like Derrick White's so good, and people are just forgetting about him and casting him aside because Jrue Holiday's in town, and that's fine because Jrue Holiday's a good player. But that doesn't mean people should forget about Derrick White too. Like Jake Fisher told us in our last pod, and I transcribed it and used it in the article. Like Boston traded 2 firsts and 2 key rotation players to get Jrue Holiday. They value him, but that's not to mean they value Jrue Holiday more than Derrick White. They are in on Derrick White. So, and also, I'm sorry. ill 617 from the comments.
Oh, I love that guy. He's fire. He just shows up to the comments every pod just to ruin people's day, including
and I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you. You don't know ball. This take, don't know ball. Did you see
What's
this?
the take?
Grant's better than Derrick White.
Oh, I did see that take, and I started laughing so hard.
And some of the stuff you said, and he sent like a 300-word reply, like, brother.
I love it. I'm all for it. If you're in our comments and you guys are going to war, respect. Okay, go ahead.
Quote, he was hardly some major contributor. White was basically a guy who played every game and didn't make mistakes, but didn't give you much offensively. In this, he goes, he averaged 11 to 12 points. If your assessment of a player is based on how many points they average, you don't watch basketball. Because that's just you're like, it got me so angry. And
Jack's brain is now bleeding.
I love and appreciate you for watching the content. Never stop what you do because this is phenomenal content. Me being mad right now, but to say, oh, he only averaged 11 points. Grant averaged like fucking 6. What do you mean? Like if that's gonna be your assessment, use it the same. And he's like, Derrick White doesn't guard bigger guys like Grant. Yeah, Grant doesn't guard smaller guys. Like that's just it got me so.
How quickly your homies change up on you.
Let
this be a lesson to all of you. The way Jack has turned his back on Grant Williams.
And then he was like, so is Maxey, quickly, Beal, Conley? I don't even know what he's saying. Like, what made him better? I didn't fucking say.
I think this is in response to the top 100.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's better than some of the guys on the list. I'm not saying he's like a top 30 player. Maybe saying he's top 50 is egregious, but I stand by that he's better. He's closer to top 50 than off the list. And I don't think that's crazy.
No, it's not that crazy. I think Derrick White gives you so much. He got recognition last year, all defensive team. That's nothing to sneeze at. He was a very solid contributor for the Celtics. We mentioned it already. Reliable shooter, about 13 points a game, and he's blocking shots like it's nobody's business. In that Philly game, he had 3 blocks. Pretty cool.
Also, his last thing was, all I'm saying is one people doesn't equate to like a good player. Like, and like his argument was like, oh, he's only done it 1 season. Basketball Index tweeted, Derrick White's perimeter isolation defense over the years. Their grades: 2019 A+, 2020 A+, 2021 A+, 2022 A+. This isn't 1 season. This is just 1 season of him doing it for a good team. Derrick White was awesome in San Antonio during his time there, and that's why the Celtics gave up so much for him. They gave up a rotation player, a first-round pick, and a protected swap or something.
Good rotation player.
Yeah, and a young player who faded out, but like is a guy that took a chance on. This isn't new for Derrick White. Derrick White put up 37 in the playoffs a few years ago. He's a damn good player. He's just doing it on a scale where he can be noticed now. And he's a top 100 player in the NBA. Just like objectively. I'm sorry. And I, again, love and appreciate you, ILL. I couldn't let that stand.
I love ILL. He's a beast. He's in there every day going to war with somebody. And I respect it. If you do that, you're a fan of the HBTC podcast. It's just, it's what we do here. We breed dogs.
I respect it.
Look at Jack.
I do respect it. I do respect
the most intimidating men you'll ever see.
And I do respect it, but I had to combat you on that one. I couldn't let it stand.
I love it. I saw that and I was like, Jack is gonna be mad as hell when.
And I love Grant too. That's the thing. Like I do love Grant, and it's tough for me to see something and go against Grant. But like, come on.
Well, Grant did lose to Real Madrid.
This is true. Fraud watch.
Kind of sucks.
Maybe
everybody that was hating on Grant was right.
No. Let's check in with our email and see what people had to say. We have some from RJ because he's a legend, and of course we have some from RJ. He said, this makes me laugh. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's just me, but this ad popped up on my Facebook feed and I almost did a spit take. They're selling Gallinari jerseys for $20 off.
Not even.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. 25. 24.
Yeah, it's tough luck. That's tough luck,
Math's
especially
hard.
because somebody else is donning this number now. So,
You know what the best is? I saw a Hayward T-shirt in a very similar fashion come up on my feed.
oof, that's a tough look. Very tough look.
I almost bought it. It wasn't even marked down that much. That's the thing. It was like still like $25.
That's tough. Maybe you should have. Reflections on the deep bench guys part 2 with 3 games in the bank and one more on the guys behind Pritchard and Hazard. I still think his coach Missoula's circle of trust. I think Cornette, Brissett, and Mikhailov have shown enough to be on the floor to be the next 3. Cornette with his knowledge of the system. Yep. Brissett with his Swiss Army athleticism on both sides. Sure. Svi with his offensive skills. Yep. I think their spots are less theirs to lose than someone further down the depth chart has to take it from them. Both Cornette and Svi are on partially guaranteed deals. I think those will be picked up. Payton is looking promising, but consistent playing time is blocked by guard depth. There's a sentence that I think I would type. I think he'll get minutes, but based on more matchups where the C's need a tall ball handler. Another partially guaranteed deal, but unless he flames out in some fashion, the Celtics will probably keep him around. Agree. Next comes Walsh, Stevens, and Gabriel. Of the 3, I think Walsh will likely play the least due to physical maturity matters. Stevens more to be favored over Gabriel right now, so Lamar's playing time would be a matter of can he contribute more than Cornette or Brissett, while Gabriel has to display more playability than Stevens to move up. Yep, DJ Stewart might be competing against guys that aren't even on the roster. Yeah, while Scrubb's injury opens up a path to the third two-way, the Celtics could look for late cuts to fill it. I get the feeling if he stays in Boston, it would be because his camp practices are better than people's film. Sure. Last player to add to this list is Neemias Queta. While he's on a 2-way contract, he's been getting minutes earlier in the games with guys higher in the rotation. Of all the backup bigs, he looks the most comfortable on offense so far. I don't see him forcing one of the full contract guys off the roster, but if his defense progresses in Maine, he could be elevated to a regular contract in the event of an injury or trade. That's all for now. Be well, RJ. I think he could bump Wendy Gabriel off the roster, to be honest, at this point.
Yeah, I'm not convinced Wendy and Gabriel's sticking around. It's unfortunate. The highlights were fun to react to when we did that, but the performance just has not been there throughout the preseason.
Maybe he's better in practice, but
maybe. Well, too bad that they don't pay him for practice, really.
Yeah, you pay him to play. This is true. This is true.
Can't stand by that.
What else do we got? 6 degrees of starting lineups. Morning, Jack and Sam. A phrase we're hearing about the Celtics is the team has 6 starters, which is true. Brown, Holiday, Horford, Porzingis, Tatum, White could all crack the lineup in a league. Yep. So let's play a game of why would we start these 5? Obviously, rest is a possibility, especially for Al, but there are particular teams where backcourt of Jrue and D. White, excuse me, I have the hiccups, is preferred over a double big or front court. And for fun, kick the tires on all of the possibilities. Have fun. This is interesting. I don't think you'll see. Do you want to do this in the context of just closing lineups, just starting lineups, or like when you would play them? Like, how do you want to do this? Because this is an interesting topic.
Well, I think it's starting lineups.
Okay. Well, in the case of starting lineups,
the bottom 2 are injury or rest.
Yeah, you'll never see either Tatum or Brown out,
or even Porzingis for that matter. So the bottom 3.
Yeah. I think they're pretty safe, unless it's like I'm trying to think of an example of when you might not want Porzingis in there, but with what we've seen, it's not like if you want to go
in a walking boot.
If you want to go as switchable as possible, like if you really cannot play drop defense, you need to switch.
Against the Warriors.
Yeah, maybe you consider a Porzingis less lineup. Just say that's 5 times fast, Jesus. But I think those 3 have shown that they are too good to bench, and I think Holiday could ride that line eventually. But for now, since we haven't seen as much of him and he is so similar to Derrick White, it makes it less easy to just discount it. I think here, the top lineup you see against big lineups because, yeah, I think you see the same thing for this where it's Horford and not the 2 guards together, except I could see them going to Holiday over Derrick White if it's a more physical guard. Like maybe they'd rather Jrue Holiday on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or, John Morant versus a Trae Young. You know what I'm saying? Like you put up White against quicker guys, Holiday against more physical guys. Sure. And I mean, this is the double guard is my preferred starting lineup, but if you're playing a Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic, maybe you do want Horford out there, but this is my preferred starting lineup personally. So I think that's the breakdown.
I'm so wiped on this question. I'm just like, I'm going to sit and see what Joe does. Cause I don't know. I think this is a really tough one to answer.
Mm-hmm.
The only real answer I think is just matchup based. I think you kind of talked about that pretty well. Having Horford out there is going to be important if you're playing against a really dominant big guy, Embiid, Jokic, even perhaps Clint Capella would be good too. You want the extra size, keep him off the glass.
Steven Adams.
Steven Adams. the real physical guys. I really, really am out on Holiday coming off the bench. The more I think about it, I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that?
Shouldn't. I don't think so.
I would like to see him out there regardless of who is handling the ball for the other team. I don't care. Quick, strong, he can guard both. That's kind of the whole point. That being said, I also think White is so valuable to have out there because he's so versatile. He can be a focal point or he can be behind the curtain. It really doesn't matter. And he's still effective. Kind of in correlation with what our man ILL said. He was just solid and he didn't have to go above and beyond, and he was still that effective. He was
until
still
he did.
Catching the attention of someone like you or the All-NBA voters that put him on the defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real thing. That's important. Like you said, until he didn't have to. Game 7 against Miami, he was the only one putting the ball in the basket because Tatum rolled his ankle. So I don't know, man. I hate this. Start 6 people.
We'll see. It's a good problem to have.
It's a good question.
And it's a good problem to have for the Celtics. All right, last thing from RJ. Forsberg and Carter chat. Morning, guys. I'm sure you're giving it a listen. Celtics talk conversation between Chris Forsberg and Jrue Carter is pretty awesome. Very relaxed and informative. Carter seems fun without being forced. If there's a way to get him on the pod, I'd love to hear his rat list, among other things. Happy Wendy and Gabriel Friday to all. PS Celtics.com updated Jordan Walsh with a real photo. There we go. About time. I haven't gotten the chance to sit down and listen to this yet. I will say, though, I spoke about it on the last pod. Really enjoyed Jrue Carter's first broadcast with the Celtics. So maybe we will try to get him on the pod sometime soon. Maybe I'll shoot him a DM or talk to him at a game sometime and see if he'd be willing. He seems like the type of guy who might be down. So
RJ did put out the flyer.
He did. RJ was looking out for us on Twitter. So we appreciate you, RJ.
He's the leader of the HBTC army.
He really is. We appreciate you, RJ. You're a beast. Thank you very much. I think that caps it off for the Celtics stuff today. Let's talk James Harden, Sam, which I'm sure you're thrilled about.
So,
yeah.
James Harden, still mad at Daryl Morey. He's not happy. He was asked about that today. He was asked if he had been able to mend his relationship with the man in charge. And he said, no, this is not even about this situation. This is in life. Okay. He said, when you lose trust in someone, it's like a marriage. You lose trust in someone. You know what I mean? It's pretty simple. Shams had a report on Harden today. Why'd you put it twice? Oh, he said he wants to retire. He wanted to retire a Sixer. And the front office didn't have that in their future plans.
Yeah.
So why'd you opt in?
Listen, I understand that part of it. And I've said this a million times, and I don't want to go down the whole us fighting whether or not James.
I'm not taking the sword out. Don't worry.
Okay. If I had to guess what happened, and the reason he opted in, it is because these issues occurred before his opt-in date. It was James Harden and the Sixers talking about a long-term extension, which at that point James Harden probably did want to be with the Sixers long-term. And because he did take what as minute or whatever it was is under the table, campering, whatever, took a pay cut last season for them to get PJ Tucker and Daniel House, which sure. That happened probably with a little wink, handshake under the table. We'll get you an extension next summer. Harden has, in his defense, he had a pretty good season. Like he had a good season for them. He was good in the regular season. He was up and down in the playoffs, but he did win them a couple playoff games. So he was fine. And then it gets to this year, and the Sixers, if I had to guess, were like, "Yeah, psych, we're not going to do that. Sorry, buddy."
Because the playoffs.
Yeah,
he said he didn't hear from them much. I didn't put this part in here. I didn't believe. Oh, yes, it did. Okay, so I'll bounce back to this. Harden, who called Morey a liar during an event in China in August, said the communication between him and the team, after being constant for years, ended when Philadelphia's playoff run was over. Now, I wonder if that has anything to do with him disappearing in Game 6 and Game 7. And they're like, wow, this guy is just not reliable. He went on and said, me and the front office had a very, very good relationship for a decade, meaning Morey. There was a constant communication, you know what I mean? And there was no communication once we lost. So he's not thrilled about that. I'm sure Daryl Morey is not thrilled that he was Houdini in those last two closeout games against the Celtics, where it felt like they had the Celtics. If they got anything from Harden in Game 6, they probably would have outed the Celtics without a problem. Game 7 was a different story. It was just a whomping, but that Game 6 was a huge missed opportunity from Philly, and he was a part of that. He had a bunch of turnovers, didn't shoot well, wasn't productive, wasn't engaged, but respect, he still plans to play. Like I said, I can control what I can control. I take it one day at a time and focus on every day as a new day. My plan is to play basketball. Yes, for sure. Different tone.
Again, just play devil's advocate. There were some games where Harden was really good, and then maybe his co-stars weren't very good. So maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's two sides to every story. And I think when he did opt in, since you mentioned it, like, it was probably him saying, all right, you guys clearly don't want to deal with me. I don't want to be here. I'll opt in and you can trade me, or I can just dip. Or maybe he was like, I'm opting in, trade me. And they were like, okay. Yeah. And then they didn't. Whatever. It was a mess from there. I did hear Tyrese Maxey on the pod today, JJ Redick pod, and maybe he was just saying this, although I don't think he would have been this in depth and like highly praising James Harden if it wasn't somewhat true. He was like, yeah, James has come to camp and it's been like good. Like, he's talking to the rookies, he's helping mentor people, like everything, like basically saying like, yeah, everything going on with that stuff has not translated. He's just been normal and it's been good camp so far. The vibes are high. So like, to hear that, at least it's like you said, respect, I guess, for him to handling it in a more professional manner than he did with Brooklyn and or Houston, or at least on the outside looking in right now. But we'll see. It's so weird to see. As much as you respect it, it is hard to imagine you consistently playing for a franchise when you are so out on the person running it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I'm not suggesting Harden like completely screw the team, because like you have to direct your anger. It's like when you yell at the what's the good analogy for it? It's like when you yell at the retail worker for the prices, right? Like, it's not, they didn't fucking set the prices. So like, why would he punish his teammates for a problem he has with the front office? But at the same time, you're still repping the organization. So how long are you going to let that stand versus when it gets in the way of your teammates? It's just such an ugly situation now. So
I suppose if it's about an extension, I just don't know like how realistically he felt about that. Like, really, you think they're going to? How much money did he want? Like, you can't justify, if you're the Sixers, you can't justify paying him upwards of what? 40 million as he continues to age.
I agree, and I get that from their perspective.
And they promised it though.
Exactly. Apparently. From Harden's perspective, you're like, well, if you hypothetically, if they promised it the year before and then they double back, then obviously you're gonna be fucking mad regardless. So
yeah, you're like, okay.
It is. I don't know, just weird.
Sure, man. I hope they implode.
We were talking to John Carlos at practice today, and he said, you know what? There's not a better team it could happen to. So why not?
Maybe the Lakers. Maybe the Lakers.
Right now, it's fine. Speaking of James Harden, though,
refer to the power.
Apparently, the Clippers wanted Jrue Holiday over James Harden. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, that was bad. Woj said on NBA Today. I know it's bad though. Said on NBA Today, Clippers were much more aggressive, quote, in their pursuit of Jrue Holiday and offered, quote, more to the Portland Trailblazers than they have been willing to for James Harden to this point. Fair assessment of talent.
I think this Harden thing really, not this Harden thing. This Clippers take on Harden speaks to why Philly did not want to pay him. If you're Philly, and I get it, like the gesture was made, the promise might have been made, whatever. And I don't really know how I should feel about that, but whatever. Maybe just don't promise people things. Don't be stupid. You cannot pay a guy that much money when you literally cannot get anybody to trade for him. Nobody wants him. If you're Harden, you have to like see that and be like, all right, well, like maybe it's partially on me. Even though I don't know how much of his fault it is that teams don't want to go get him, because purely from like an age standpoint and like he's getting old, we don't want to pay him standpoint, that's not really his fault. Because that's my main take is like, Harden's what, 34, 35, maybe a little younger? He's probably 33 because him and Holiday were drafted the same year. But anyways, people are like, we don't want to pay him. 34. Okay. He wants what, 3 or 4 more years? You want to pay him $40 million when he's 38? If you're Harden, you want that when you're 38, but nobody wants to pay you that. So it's very difficult to find a trade partner for you. It's hard.
Yeah. I agree.
just
And
talked in a circle. I really didn't say anything, but
I will
there's
say,
not too much to say.
and Keith Smith and Trevor Lane, the front office show, brought this up multiple times. Yes, that's tough, but purely on the trade thing, if you're the Clippers, and Keith has said this a million times on the show, and Terrence Mann is the only reason you're not getting this deal done, come on. Terrence Mann's great,
Sure.
and I know you like Terrence Mann. I know I like Terrence Mann. But if the difference between James Harden being there and not is Terrence Mann and a first and a pick swap and salary versus salary and 2 firsts, just do the fucking trade. Get it done. Get it done before training camp. Terrence Mann's a fine player, but you'd still rather have James Harden. Not even close. Just do it. Just get the deal over with. Just send him a first and a swap and Terrence Mann and whatever salary you need to, and let's all move on with our lives. So we don't have to talk about James Harden anymore, just like we don't have to talk about Dame anymore, because it's nice that he's somewhere else now.
Send him. Well, if you're at this point, you're Daryl Morey, maybe you spite him. You just go all in.
You can't, because it's not the same as Portland.
You absolutely can.
It's not the same as Portland, because Philly actually needs to compete, because then you're risking Embiid, and then you're missing off Maxey. You can't do that.
That would be fire if he was like, all right, Detroit, come here.
Yeah, something like that. But Zion Williamson is the next thing we're talking about, and you put this on here. You it is, though, because you put it on here, and this is the direction you want to take it. So I'm going to let you lead this charge here, please.
So for quite some time now, Zion Williamson has not been able to get on the court. He's dealt with numerous injuries, probably partly to largely caused by his weight. He's very out of shape going into last season. He missed a lot of time, I will say. Pelicans, when he played, were very good. To his credit, he has some competition. Memphis Grizzlies big man, Kenneth Lofton Jr. showed up to training camp over 300 pounds, according to Chris Vernon. Last year, he was only 275 pounds. Now, if you're familiar with Kenneth Lofton Jr., he already looked kind of big. You know who he is. You just might not know his name. You'll be like, oh, yeah, that guy. I'm surprised that he's going up and not down, to be honest with you. When you come into the NBA and everyone kind of recognizes you because you're fat or bigger, it's time to shed the pounds. You don't really need to get bigger. You need to lose weight. Especially he's only 6'6", 6'7", and he's a big man. He needs to be able to take advantage of some quickness instead of just packing on the pounds. 300 pounds is a lot, dude. If you're going to be a pro athlete, I mean, just look at Zion. Look at him.
Yeah. Very tough. And 6'7", 300 pounds is nuts. And hey, I'm not in shape myself. I'm not one to talk. But Kenneth Lofton is a big boy.
He's always been a big boy. He bullied the hell out of Wemby back in the day. Bullied him.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Wemby came in the league. He was like, well, I got to get back to my prime, my peak. I have to prepare for him. And he got stronger. So actually, respect.
No. No. Maybe not respect. Maybe getting a little bit of shape there, Guinea. That is crazy. He's competing with Zion, as you like to put it. But we'll see what happens there. Last thing, and another thing you put on here, so I'm going to let you lead it off because I was at practice today. Load management. So hit me.
Load management. Finished.
Bad now? Yeah. Question mark. Bad.
So we talked about load management quite a bit. We talked about it way back, I want to say in April, May maybe, when Paul George put out his podcast. He was talking about it, and he was saying, or maybe it was not his podcast, it was the Reddick pod. I think he made an appearance on the Reddick pod. He talked about load management with JJ, and he was like, listen, the Clippers are the ones enforcing the load management. I personally don't even like load management. And he went back and detailed how it was when he played with the Pacers, where, I don't know, 10 years ago now, they were trotting teams out there for back-to-back-to-backs. They did not care a lick about fatigue, wear and tear. It didn't matter. And guys were playing far more games. Now they're dialing it back. They're giving guys excuses to sit out, or teams, more so, excuses to rest guys, that it's having a negative effect, and the league has had enough. So The Athletic published an article today or yesterday, recently, depending on when you're listening to this, that load management is no longer something with data backing it. Sam Amick and Joe Varden wrote, a top NBA official said teams' general practice of resting players to prevent future injury and extend careers, commonly known as load management, a term ingrained in the lexicon of the sport over the past several years as some of the biggest stars miss huge amounts of games, is no longer supported by scientific data. There's a lot of stuff in this article from Joe Dumars, who is a spokesperson for the NBA now, pretty much. And a lot of talk about the All-Star game. Like the angles in this article where the NBA is pushing is kind of weird. I know they put in the new rules with the new CBA, so they're trying to be like, listen, we did that because we know this is BS. But it kind of also sounds like the NBA is just trying to like make more money. So I'm actually like somewhat skeptical about this, even though I have been a major, major supporter of getting rid of load management because I understand like I'm a runner. If I don't run, if I start taking days off running, my body is going to have a more difficult time running. Yes, my body is going to get tired and it needs rest, but you should not take away from the normal amount of activity. So for these guys, the normal activity is playing games. Don't just sit them out because then they play a game and their body's not ready for it. But the weird like money angle where they're talking about TV deals and stuff in this article is a bit like alarm going off.
Yeah, I want to see the data. You fucking this whole article is like, oh yeah, data support. Show us the data. Like, what data did you take? Let's see what you got. Because like, why would I believe? Like, and I do agree with the idea of the more they play, the more their bodies are used to that, the more it will put probably less of a strain because they're so used to the constant playing. Let's see the data. Like you just we collect the data, this new data, this data. Show it. Like, let's see it. You had a whole article and you didn't show us the data. Like, what are we doing? So I agree, and I hope we do see less load management. It'd be good for the game. Would be better for us.
I truthfully just think it's stupid. Like load management has forever been stupid. You just can't expect these guys to just sit there and wait, break glass in case of emergency type thing. Not everybody can be Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I said it last time we talked about it. It's usually not the players. It's usually the teams like forcing these guys to rest, which sucks. And
it sucks for the players because they get a bad rap.
Yeah,
I mean, in this article, literally they name drop Kawhi, and they're like, he was literally the poster child of this, which he is. But it might not necessarily be his fault, even though it kind of was because the exit from San Antonio was weird, and they were using that as a reason for not playing him, and he didn't want to play. And I don't know. Go watch the beef history from SB Nation on it. We'll talk. I
agree. All right, you want to play who we play for?
Yes, I actually forgot about this. Every
Sam,
time I forget about it.
I've run out of like good free agents, so I'm going to exhibit 9s and 10s. However, they will be players you have heard of, so they won't be like. So they will be. But that's what we're getting down to it here. Rodney McGruder, you know him. You know the player.
I'm aware of him. He used to play for Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who does he play for? Oh boy,
tis the question. Boy. He is on an exhibit 9. Or 10. One of the two. I don't know which one, but he's on that type of deal.
Is he on the Nets?
He's not. I'll give you a clue. He was once trash talked by a player on his new team saying this guy's going to be out of league soon. And now he's playing with them.
I'm trying to think of trash talkers. That's what I'm doing.
It's not somebody you'd think of. So
really?
I'll play the clip.
Is it Phoenix?
Close. Kind of.
I give up.
Western Conference team. Western Conference team.
Is it Utah?
Nope, it's a good team. That's what I said. It's close. I'll play it. We'll play the clip. We'll spoil it here.
Play it.
What's McGruder doing over there? Is a little scuffle happening? Talking about one, and then everything seems.
So it's Damian Lee.
Plays figuring out what's going on.
Jordan Poole.
Wait.
I think McGruder. I don't know. This dude might be out the league soon. He's probably mad about that. Who knows?
Is he on the Warriors?
He is on the Warriors.
Who said that? Steph Curry?
Klay Thompson.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they got into beef during the game, and Klay was just like, I don't know what he's mad about. This guy's probably out the league soon. Gonna be mad about
Joke's
that.
on Klay. He might be out the league soon.
Yeah, right? So,
after that playoffs against the Lakers, he was terrible.
All right. So, yeah, Warriors for him. Kevin Knox, Sam, who he play for?
Kevin Knox was on the Pistons. He's no longer on the Pistons.
He wasn't on the Pistons last year.
He wasn't?
If he was, he got traded. He did not finish last season with the Pistons.
Oh, he finished with Portland. My bad.
Yep.
My bad. He was part of the Wiseman deal. I know Portland.
Who you play for?
I don't. Portland didn't bring him back, did he? Did they? They did.
He did. Exhibit 9. Yeah. There's not much left. I'm slim pickings. I got to hit something.
That's okay.
Romeo Langford, former Celtic, who he played for.
He got picked up.
Mm-hmm. Exhibit 10 or 9.
The hell did I see this? I did see it.
It's because we talked about it on the pod.
I might have. Yeah, I might have wrote about it. This is so
We
bad.
did. We talked about it.
How did he end up? What conference?
West.
West? Is he on the Spurs still?
Nope.
No?
Not which team picked him up. Who picked him up? Who wanted Langford?
Danny, Utah.
Danny,
Yes.
Danny wanted Langford. Yep.
This is so bad. I literally wrote an
Danny
article
wanted-
that Danny picked him up, and I was like,
Yep.
it makes sense. He drafted him.
Yeah.
Ugh, so
All right,
bad.
2 more. Mac McClung, who he played.
Mac McClung, Orlando.
Yes, correct. Last one, potential Celtics target from the summer. On an exhibit 9 or 10 now, Jalen Noel, who he play for.
He's on exhibit 9.
Mm.
Really?
Mhm. Yeah, didn't get a
Is
standing
he still
deal.
with Minnesota?
He is not. Different team got him. A team where he could actually play some decent minutes for them, in my opinion.
Suck.
Mm-mm.
No.
No. Mm.
I don't know.
Mm.
Is it Phoenix?
No. That is the correct division.
Pacific
that.
Division. The
Yep.
Clippers?
Nope. I'm not gonna give you more clues. No, you got to guess
Kings?
through. Yeah, he's on the Kings. Jalen Noel joined the Kings. I think he played pretty well in their first preseason game too. But that can wrap up who he played for. Let's get into the rat list now. Then let's jump in. Sam, I have a video that I was scrolling, admittedly, while we were talking, and I was on Twitter a little bit, and I found this video, and I thought it was funny as shit. So I'm just gonna share. It's nothing to do with basketball. It's just like popped up in my timeline, and I just thought it was funny. We can see it. I'll move the mat. All
right. Are those ants? They drop ants on him?
It's a tarantula.
I'd be mad as hell if they dropped a tarantula on me. Can you even stomp a tarantula?
Look how big it is. Look how
that
big
thing's bigger than him.
Oh
that kid's gonna be traumatized.
Look at that thing. Look at this.
Also, not for nothing, what are you doing with a tarantula around a kid like that? I've always been out on like the reptile people that they bring the snakes and stuff to schools.
Yeah, the reptiles.
Out on that. I was in like 6th grade and they did that. I went and hid in the bathroom. No shame. Yep. I hate snakes.
Yeah,
don't
out
do
on
that.
bugs
It's
too.
terrible.
I don't really bugs, snakes, all that stuff. Not a fan. Not in. Just
don't need
watch
it.
Watch his face change from this is the point of realization, and then it is pure.
Little kids are kind of funny though, because it does usually. It usually takes them a minute to figure out something's wrong. Like they'll fall, and then they'll have that little grace period where they don't know they're hurt yet, and then they start wailing.
Yeah.
I think everyone can relate to that though. Like everyone would turn into a little kid. All right, if we're gonna do, I saw this on Twitter Talk. I saw perhaps the greatest post of all time on Twitter today.
Please.
So I was scrolling through, and I'm gonna send this to you because I want you to react to it before I drop what it is. And I see a quote tweet of an article from Men's Health. Now I have sent this to you on Twitter, and it says, "Hot girl summer is over. It is now time for small penis fall." And that might be the hardest I think I've ever laughed at something I saw like on like my Twitter timeline. And there's a whole article about it. And I read it, and apparently like some girl just tweeted it, and everyone was like, "Yeah, I agree." Like, shout out to the fellas.
Is that the new Short Kings?
I'm all about it, man.
Oh my god.
I froze. I'm back.
I can't breathe.
No, that was me. I was sitting here doing the show sheet. I was looking for new like stories, and I was like, "Well, there's one." But this is 2 years old. The article.
That's nuts.
They just whipped it out for the new fall.
That's something special, man. That's next level.
Respect.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Hey, that's I don't have any comment. That's incredible.
Well, the worst is when like you like do sports and stuff, Because then, like, your body's programmed to be like, well, this thing is going to get in the way, so we're just going to make it real small.
Yeah. Oh my god.
All right, rat list time. We've
Please.
arrived. Do you have anything? You said you're going to wing it.
Just traffic today. It's just annoying. Like, people just don't fucking know how to drive.
Ooh,
It pisses me off. Like, I'm driving home, I'm weaving in and out, whatever. And people love to just be the worst, right? And what I mean by that, I'm on the highway. And you know when you're in that awkward situation where you can't really speed up enough for a car to let them come in because they're merging and you have to get off soon.
Correct.
But you also, so you're kind of forced to at least slow down a little just so you don't fucking cause an accident, right? It sucks. If you're merging and you see them slowing down, get in the fucking lane. Don't spend your whole
have
time
some respect.
driving in the right. Get in, right? Because then we're just in this awkward like standout. And then somebody came in from the left lane and cut me off that way. Take the entrance, or I'm just not going to let them go next time. Next time they hesitate, I'm just going to drive past them and figure it out. Yeah. Oh my God. People need to be more decisive.
You need like you hit a button and you have like a pinball flap, but a really big one that comes out the side of your car and just flips.
You ever seen the Minions movie?
No.
I will show you exactly what it is. Hold up. So in the Minions movie, Gru, have you seen Despicable Me? Sorry, that's what I meant.
I've seen Despicable Me once when I was like 11, 12, like that age, whenever it came out, like around then. It was on Redbox.
Sure. There's a scene in Despicable Me, which I aspire to be. Just
all right.
Put it clearly. This is him. Can you take Matt off the screen while I put this up?
I literally just sat up to do it. No.
All right. So this in Despicable Me.
We're back.
Is his.
Yep. Everybody should have. Well, not everybody. We should have one of these. Yeah. That is literally how it should go when people drive poorly. You just turn into that.
And then there's this.
Oh, there's this? Okay.
There's big asshole car. Dude hanging out. And then
I can't believe Brad got away again. How is this possible? How?
Yep, exactly.
That's what I need. That's what we need on the roads. So I thought that was relevant. So shout out. This was cool.
Speaking of the roads, today I may have seen the most inconvenient accident I've ever seen. Now, every now and then I'll make the joke, and I hesitate to do it because people may get upset. You have to be a real prick to get in an accident like in rush hour. Like that is the most inconsiderate time you could ever get into a car accident because everybody's on the road. So you really slow everyone down. Now today, the rush hour car accident may have been outdone.
Oh, okay.
Today they were doing road work. Now they were doing road work, but not road work. They were doing trimming the trees on the side of the road. But it was
is this a highway or is this just like a
no? This is like the regular roads.
Sure.
Now the branches are hanging over some wires, so whatever, they're cutting them off, so they get rid of them, so nothing bad happens, which is fine. However, somebody got in an accident right next to where that was happening. Ooh, they did it right in the middle of the road. So I'm at a red light, an intersection, and I see a ton of traffic. I'm like, what the hell's going on? The two cars have collided, leaving about a lane between the road work and the accident in the middle of the road. Nothing serious, but enough to where everyone had to stop and look.
Yep. That's a disaster. They were probably trying to get around the fucking tree cutter. And
my mom thought they were rubbernecking, looking at it. They were like, what are they doing?
Probably. Idiots. That's the worst kind of people. I hate it. What else do I got? There's nothing too bad that's gone on. It's only been a day since we recorded this. So nothing really has happened. I don't know. Just nothing really.
All right.
Al Horford taking forever and taking too long to get us there. And then
so
that's about it. Yeah.
Prior to the recording today, I decided I want to treat myself. I went go get a donut. Now I go to the donut shop that I like very much. They have very good vanilla frosted donuts with sprinkles. Also get a coffee. I walk in the door. Now there are people ahead of me. I have never seen anybody take this long to complete an order. to finish asking all of the questions that they had.
Mm.
She must have been ordering some sandwich, and she has her kid with her who's probably like mid-teens.
Yeah.
And she's asking about the mustard they have on the sandwich. She's like, well, do you have spicy mustard? And they're like, well, we have honey mustard. We don't have actual mustard. She's like, you don't have mustard? They're like, no, we don't have mustard. This is a conversation that took far too long. Then she's like, well, do you have horseradish? And they're like, I don't know. She's asking questions on every single item that she's interested in eating or ordering.
Yeah.
Now, there could have been an allergy, but usually allergies don't start at like mustard. It's usually like, do you have peanut butter in this thing?
Yeah.
That's the thing. They took so long that somebody else came, helped me, took my order, got my coffee ready, and got me my donut before this person had paid. It was the most unreal display of just filibustering at the register. I'd never seen anything like it. Yeah.
At that point, go to the fucking grocery store, get exactly what you want, and go fucking make it yourself.
Yeah. I agree.
That's bad. That's bad.
I was mad that like I didn't even get like the cool like after they leave moment with like the workers. You're like, get a load of that person.
Yeah, I do that too.
Like,
that's
they
fun.
Love you. Yeah,
that's a good one. That happened to me at McDonald's once. This had to have been like over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I was in a McDonald's, and the drive-through line was long, so I went in, right? And I'm understanding that the drive-through line is long, and I'm going to wait inside too. But I'm just like, you know what? Let me not have to wait in my car and have to be, I'll just go inside. It'll be easier. Or actually, I had a pickup order. That's why I had a pickup order. So I go in, I tell them, and they're like, sorry, it's not ready yet. We're really busy. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. I understand. That's fine. Another guy comes in for his pickup. A woman comes in. She gets it. You can tell she's in the same situation as me. She's mad, but she's still waiting. But I'm not mad. I'm like, whatever. Dude comes in, starts screaming. He's like, he's like, can I get my, well, he's like, he orders. He's like, can I get fries and this and this? And they're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And somebody comes up to help him, but the worker takes the gloves off or something, or like something where it'd be like contamination and they can't like touch the food and then touch the register and then go back. And so the manager's like, no, you can't help him. Like you have your gloves on, like probably like training a new guy because it was a kid.
Yep.
And the guy goes to the manager. He goes, what the fuck? He can't fucking help me? What do you mean he can't fucking help me? There's like fucking 10 of you back there. And she's like, it's just policy. I'm sorry. And he just starts screaming. He goes, I know the Smiths that own this fucking McDonald's. I'm like, wow, we're going with that, buddy. We're going with the I know the owners. This is a McDonald's. Do you know fucking Mr. McDonald? Shut the fuck up.
Have you ever seen The Founder? You don't know that guy. You don't know Michael Keaton's character in The Founder.
He's like, I'm going to go call the police or something or that. I'm like, brother. Yeah. Your fries are going to take 5 minutes. And I grab the thing and they apologize. And I had that moment and I get my food finally. And I'm like, what the fuck was wrong with that guy? And they start laughing and
they're all like, that guy's meal's free now.
Like, what are we doing? Like, you see, there's a huge line at the register. You see that there's a million people working and this guy clearly wasn't supposed to help you yet because he's doing stuff out like other stuff. What's the point of being a jackass? It's fucking McDonald's. Get over yourself. Go to a fucking steakhouse.
Also just go to another McDonald's. There's like a zillion McDonald's.
He's an asshole. He's the
just go down the street. I'm sure there's a McDonald's somewhere.
Yeah. So that was.
I went to a rage room yesterday for the first time. Definitely mistimed it. Yeah, could use it a different day. But going to a rage room, not a terrible experience, but definitely not worth the money.
How much?
We had to be done in there smashing all the shit they gave you in like 5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
How much was it, if you don't mind?
It was like $60.
That's not good value for you.
No, not good value.
That sucks. that's
why a whole new video game for $60.
Yeah.
No, last you, I don't know. I could pull up how many days I had on pick game, whatever.
Spider-Man,
dude. We're recording this on Friday. We got 1 week. 1 week. I've been waiting 5 years for Spider-Man. It's still not here yet.
Maybe I'll play. Maybe I have to break it out.
I'd
have to get a PS5.
Homework for Jack.
Yeah.
Download Spider-Man to your computer because you can get the first game. You can get it on your computer.
Okay.
So download it. Change your life.
If it's not too many gigabytes, I will. I have to. The gigabytes are huge. I've got to consider it. That's all I got for us. I don't have anything else. You got anything?
Just sitting here thinking about Spider-Man.
All right. Well, let's close there. Thank you all for tuning in. Couple what's the word? Couple laundry list. What's the word when you like like going over things that are important. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm gibberish. but I
Laundry
can't-
list, to-do list.
No, it's like a couple. Like I'm gonna talk about
Housekeeping items.
housekeeping banger. A couple housekeeping items for the
Mhm.
pod. Next playback is scheduled, so if you go to playback, you will see the correct thumbnail. I'm losing my fucking mind. You'll see the next thumbnail with the Hornets on it. We were going to be live for the Celtics Hornets preseason game on the 19th, which is a Thursday, with a guest hanging out like Manning Cast. Shout out to the guest who I'm sure we'll talk about closer to the date when we confirm it, but we'll see you there with a guest. So come hang out that day and follow the playback. It's just playback.tv/How About Them Celtics. Follow it, join 31 others right now, and maybe more of you.
31. We've got more.
We
more
have. We've
since the last
slowly
time we
gone
looked.
up. I think Sam and I are going to try our best to do more guest stuff. We just had Jake Fisher on. Might try to do a guest a week or a guest every 2 weeks. We're gonna try to bring more people into the How About Them Celtics universe. See if we can get people to talk to us, talk to you, have a good time. Celtics people, NBA people in general. But we're gonna have a good season. Thank you very much for 1,500 subscribers. I know I mentioned it last time, but we've surpassed it since then, and we appreciate the support greatly. So thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics, join 1,500 plus others, and leave us reviews, comments, ratings on Spotify and Apple. That actually helps a lot more than you realize. And leave a comment, most importantly, especially ILO617. I still love you. I promise. We
goat.
appreciate you. I'll let Sam take it out.
Yes, thank you very much for watching or listening, whichever it may be. This is a full-length pod. You can find us on the YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell because we are putting up the daily content. You don't want to miss any of it. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. Like Jack said, make sure you leave a 5-star review. Say something nice. Social media at How About Them C's. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Just the name of the podcast. You can find Jack on Twitter at JacksMoneNBA. You can find me on Twitter at SamuelFranceNBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus! These guys are ridiculous!